Hello, I'm Nari McDiarmid for miningnews.net, and it's great to be speaking again with Frazer Tabeart, the Managing Director of Alma Metals. Now, Frazer, for anyone new to the company, how would you describe Alma Metals?
Yeah, so Alma's it's an ASX-listed junior copper explorer and developer. Our projects are exclusively in Australia, so a tier one jurisdiction, and we've very much deliberately set the company up with a focus on copper. We think that the fundamentals are superb in the short, medium, and long term, and there's a very well documented supply cliff that's looming. So, great place to position the company.
And if we could have a look at the key highlights of your main project, Briggs, and there's talk of it being in the top 10 in terms of contained copper for an Australian copper deposit. So what more can you tell us, Frazer?
Well, yes, it is. We're in the top 10. We've got over 1 million tonnes of copper metal in the deposit. It's basically our flagship project. It's in Queensland. It's about 60 kilometres to the west of Gladstone, so it's got superb infrastructure. We're right on the doorstep of road, rail, power, and a deep water port. It's an earning joint venture, so we're currently at 30%, earning in to the ultimate goal of 70%. It's a very large porphyry copper system, so it's low grade but very large. It's at surface, and that's important for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it makes the exploration pretty straightforward. I mean, we can use soil sampling and very quickly delineate the system, and that helps us guide where the drilling is going to go. But then if we can get this through feasibility studies into a mining project, it means we're going to have very low strip ratio, particularly in the early years. So, you couldn't think of anything better. You've got great infrastructure, very large deposit. It's growing, it's open in all directions, particularly at depth. There's certainly very little drilling below 300 or 400 metres. We've got over 400 million tonnes in resource at the moment. We've got an exploration target that's effectively twice that again on top of it. So, it's got the growth potential to ultimately deliver a project that's capable of a 25-year mine life, subject to going through the usual feasibility studies. It's also got some higher grade zones within it, and that's quite important. So, part of our work over the next 6 to 12 months will be to find some of those higher grade zones, and they're up to 0.4, 0.5% over many tens of metres, very close to surface as well. So we're currently drilling, looking for some of those positions, but we fully expect this project to grow and get better.
Well, taking a step back from the project level, Frazer, and what would you like people to know about Alma Metals' management team?
Yeah, well, I guess the two sort of key executives there are myself and the chairman, Alistair Cook. I've got porphyry copper background, so my background, I had many years with WMC Resources, so I've worked on porphyry copper systems. I've through WMC visited over 30 world-class porphyry and porphyry-related systems. So I've seen the sort of spectrum of how these deposits, how they form and what they look like, and so I can use that information to help sort of guide the exploration and mentor some of our geologists that haven't had the luxury of that experience. So that helps on the technical side. Alistair's also a technical guy, he's a geologist as well. Probably the most important thing from an Alma shareholder perspective, he's also on the board of Caravel Minerals. Caravel's got a very large, similar style project in Western Australia, which is a little bit more advanced than Briggs. So, through that relationship, we can sort of understand what are the key issues facing a project like Caravel, and how can we apply those to Briggs so that we can, shorten the time frame to get this to a development decision. So it's a pretty good and pretty unique combination of, the exploration experience, but also the feasibility study and development experience at the executive level.
Well, finally, Frazer, what would you like any potential investors to know about Alma Metals?
Probably three or four key points. One is we're very focused on copper in a tier one jurisdiction. Secondly, we've got short-term growth opportunities in the resource size, hopefully to support a 25-year mine life or longer. And then finally, we've got drilling underway right now, so we're expecting to see some pretty good results flowing over the next 3 to 4 months, with a particular focus on those higher grade zones. So that should deliver some very encouraging news for shareholders over the next 4 or 5 months.
Well, Frazer, thanks very much for taking the time to speak today.
Pleasure.